and creative director at Roar. Here we go. And I'm Pallavi, founder and creative director of Roar Metaspace. Now, what exactly is the Metaverse and why is it relevant to us in the design community? We've all heard the word and we've seen references in pop culture. Through this presentation, I'm going to give you a very brief intro. So notice how I made her look much younger and prettier than me? That's intentional, right? So what is the Metaverse, right? This term was coined by an author called Ernest Cline in a book called Snow Crash. Spoiler alert, if you've not seen Ready Player One, the world is coming to an end, there's global warming, and the only place that humans can connect is in a space called the Metaverse, the Oasis, and they can only connect to the space with VR headsets and with wired gloves. Fast forward 2021, how many of you know this guy? Come on, some Ryan Reynolds fans in the room? Guys, come on, he's hot. Okay, so he plays a background character in an open source world game. And this is kind of, if you have an hour and a half to waste time, it's not Oscar worthy, watch this movie and it'll really show you how we can interact in a gaming environment in the Metaverse. But look, this is not just about pop culture, all right? We are transitioning from movies and from games into something that's a little bit more real. But before I get into that little bit more real, how many of you have kids in the room? Yes, quite a few. How many of you have heard of Fortnite, Roblox? Now, how many of you have spent thousands of dollars on this a year? I have. I have been spending money on the Metaverse without even realizing it. There's over 100 million people on these platforms who are, my kids are buying merch on this platform and I'm paying for it. So the Metaverse has been around for a long time. It's not a new thing. So I want to introduce some of these concepts to you, right? If you look at the gaming industry, obviously I've touched upon it, it's got 100 million people. But in 2021, somebody paid $4.3 million, the most expensive Metaverse property in Sandbox. That's real money. Well, if you consider cryptocurrency real money, I kind of do because I've invested in it. And not so long ago, someone paid $450,000 just to be neighbors with Snoop Dogg. Anybody know Snoop Dogg? I thought he was dead. Like I thought this, not him as an individual, but I thought his music was dead. But somebody's paying to be his neighbors. And this kind of got me thinking, so I've always been skeptical. I'm like, blockchain, what a bunch of crap. But then I'm seeing all these credit card bills for my kids. I'm reading stats like this on Wall Street Journal. I'm like, you know what? I need to investigate this a little bit more. Now you know this guy, I mean, spoiler alert, his name's there as well. Let's see what he did with his company.
I am proud to announce that starting today, our company is now Meta. Now we have a new North Star to help bring the Metaverse to life. And we have a new name that reflects the full breadth of what we do and the future that we want to help build. From now on, we're going to be Metaverse first, not Facebook first.
Okay, so this guy can invest $10 billion in the Metaverse, right? There is some meat in this little pie of ours, right? But it doesn't come without, and I always say this, like, I've invested heavily in the Metaverse as a business, which I'll show you in a bit, but you've got to tread with caution. Since he changed his company name in October 2021, his stock prices have fallen by 42%. That's a huge dip, wouldn't you say? Would you agree? To some, not heads, 42%, not great. Okay, but this is not just related to the business world or the real estate world. The entertainment industry is taking notice. And when Lil Nas has a concert in Roblox or Travis Scott has a concert in Fortnite, people are really trying to get in on this action. And then my favorite brand, Balenciaga, has created these iconic little merch again, or t-shirts and trainers for the characters. So you've got Ralph Lauren, you've got Balenciaga, you've got Travis Scott, all backing the Metaverse. So again, I'm trying to kind of convert you, as I was a skeptic, I'm trying to convert you and show you that maybe there's something to this. If you're still not convinced, think about what's happened over the last 2 years, right? a lot of us have chosen to work from home. And this has taken many forms. It could be Zoom, it could be Teams, but then here comes our good friend Mark Zuckerberg, and he's like, you know what? I need to capitalize on this as well. How can I make work from home, something that we all are familiar with, a really relatable concept? So very quick video.
Over the last year and a half, a lot of us who work in offices have gone remote. And while I miss seeing the people I work with, I think remote work is here to stay for a lot of people. So we're going to need better tools to work together. Let's take a look at what working in the metaverse will be like. Imagine if you could be at the office without the commute. You would still have that sense of presence, shared physical space, those chance interactions that make your day all accessible from anywhere. Now imagine that you have your perfect work setup and you can actually do more than you could in your regular work setup.
Notice he's not like Snoop Dogg.
You can keep wearing your favorite sweatpants.
Looking good. Let's get together real quick for a debrief.
I'm free now. Let's jump in. Hi.
Hey.
So what do we think?
Okay, so this is going to become a reality very soon for all of us, right? We might not think we're there yet, but we're nearly there. I'm doing virtual site meetings all the time. So obviously Microsoft had to jump in because Meta's in there now, and they've created another product called Soul Work, where basically your physical, your physical presence, is that what it's called? You as a human can create digital avatars and meet in these spaces, right? So I'm showing you examples of how this is an actual industry. But when you have JP Morgan come and say that it's a $1 trillion yearly opportunity, and they've set up their first virtual bank in Sandbox, it comes with a live tiger. I've always wanted a live tiger in my office, roar, tiger, but JP Morgan's got it. He's got a spiral staircase as well, also something I've always wanted. And this is the thing I really want. He's got an illuminated portrait of himself in the lobby. I mean, who wouldn't want that? So JP Morgan, serious name, serious bank in the metaverse. And here's the good news. Here's where some of us, how many architects and designers in this room? Can I just see a show of hands? Okay, all the cool people, yes. Okay, so here's where we step in, right? We are going to help create this world. So I'm going to give you 3 tips on how to do that. And we've got some experts in the room as well. Right, Mohammed? Yeah. Okay, so my number 1 tip is try it for yourself. I'm going around convincing my clients to create digital twins of their space in the metaverse. Before I do that, I need to have skin in the game, right? I'm not saying we should all do it, but you have to understand quite a few parameters. A lot of people are talking about the metaverse, but it's not that easy. I had to teach myself Ethereum blockchain. I had to get a crypto wallet. Some of you might be far advanced and understand blockchain technology, but I don't. So I had to do a whole bunch of courses. But I always feel like if you're not doing it yourself, you shouldn't talk about it, and you really shouldn't convince other people to do it. So this is what we did. Late last year, I bought 4 plots in Decentraland, right? They're like little plots. They appreciated for a bit and then they dipped again. But I had to understand how Decentraland as a platform works. Now, some of my colleagues, like Divan Architects, are doing some fantastic work in the metaverse, but they're building their own platforms. When you're working on existing platforms, it comes with a lot of limitations and parameters. I can't do the beautiful buildings that Raya is doing in Decentraland. It has to be very basic because you're controlled by polygon sizes. So let me show you what we've done with our
So what you see here is the avatar of Pallavi arriving at our plot in the metaverse. We've chosen Decentraland, but we're also working in the Sandbox. One of the use cases is, of course, sales, marketing, promotion. Here we're promoting some of our designs. Now, Pallavi is taking a ride to some of the higher floors in the metaverse. For example, you can see her there. This is the paddle tennis court. Now she's taking a jump onto the slide. And we're exploring things like a gallery for NFTs, virtual meeting spaces as well, e-commerce in the metaverse. It is still in its infancy. The potential for real estate is massive.
Yeah, and like the potential for real estate is massive, but the cool factor I get with my 12-year-olds and my 9-year-olds as a gamer is way better than the real estate potential, right? But again, I have to give you this with a grain of salt. Since I invested in January 2022, which is earlier this year, Ethereum prices have dropped by 51%. Okay? So think of this as a bit of a punt. I'm not saying go all in, put all your life savings into it, but take a bit of a punt, but go into it knowing that there is a possibility you might lose money and time, but it's fun. And you're at the kind of cusp at your industry where you're disrupting it. So my second takeaway tip is that developers and designers need each other. And I'm not talking about the Neom or the Red Sea guys. I'm talking about the gaming developers, right? So a lot of what we've been doing in architecture and design, we're in the metaverse already. We pitch our ideas in AR, VR on a daily basis. Raya showed you some beautiful images. That is the metaverse. Anything that is three-dimensional representation of a two-dimensional idea is the metaverse, is Web3. Okay, so that's your most basic definition. Now this might look like something my 9-year-old has done on Minecraft, but you have to understand it is about those parameters that we have to work within, unless you're building your own metaverse platform, right? So just don't try and go out and do it yourself. We're collaborating with a lot of gaming designers to get the interactivity within our process, because you can't do everything. We're working with UXT, we're working with mathematicians, and I love that about this new space, because you're bringing different disciplines together. We can get quite siloed in how we work, especially in our construction, cliquey industry. Tip number 3, don't forget about NFTs. You've heard a lot about non-fungible tokens. It is a huge industry, right? I think let some numbers come up here. The sales volume of NFTs in 2020 was 95 million, right? 2021, 23 billion. Those are some cracking numbers. And remember I showed you the 1 trillion JP Morgan kind of number earlier? This is a real money-making opportunity, I think, in many ways. It's a real commercial proposition. And I think it's also a huge opportunity for us as creatives. Imagine selling some of your designs, your furniture, some of those visuals, like when Raya was doing her pitch for the Iraqi pavilion. That could have been an NFT in itself, right? So there's so many opportunities for us. If one crypto punk can sell for $30 million US, just imagine what the original Eames chair drawing would fetch. And that's it from me. That's the metaverse in a nutshell.